All right, today we are cracking open the director's playbook. Have you ever wondered how you take a script that's just packed with really complex stuff, we're talking robotics, AI, you name it, and somehow turn it into a visual story that people actually want to watch? Well, we're going to break down exactly how that magic happens.
I mean, that's the real challenge, isn't it? When you're dealing with things like microscopic fibers, or AI models you can't even see, or tech that honestly feels like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie, how do you bring it down to earth? How do you make it so people can see it, and get it, and feel it? That is the art we're decoding today.
So here's how we're going to do it. We've got 4 key stages. First up, the hook, how you win those first 3 seconds. Then we'll get into decoding the really complex tech with visual metaphors. After that, it's all about creating that futuristic vibe for your story. And finally, the big one, how to land that one shareable fact that makes everything stick. Okay, let's dive right in with the most critical part of any video you will ever make, the hook. You've got what, 3 seconds, maybe less, to convince someone to stop scrolling. So how on earth do you do it?
Well, the key is to look at your script and pull out the most powerful, most punchy images you can find, right at the very beginning. In this case, we've got a tiny fiber doing something totally impossible, a super tight close-up on a robotic eye, and then a full shot of a humanoid robot. These are your raw ingredients for a killer opening.
Now here's where it gets really interesting, how you actually translate those words into visuals. The strategy isn't just to show these things one after another. No. You create a super rapid, almost glitchy split-screen montage. It's meant to be a little disorienting for just a second, right? It creates this sense of mystery and urgency, and then bam, it resolves into a clean 3-panel image. That combination of chaotic pace and clean composition, that's what creates immediate intrigue. It tells you you're about to see something completely new.
All right, so you've got their attention. Now for the hard part, and honestly, the biggest challenge in any tech explainer. How do you explain the actual science without putting everyone to sleep? How do you make something that sounds impossible feel understandable?
You know, the biggest barrier, the real enemy here, is jargon. Words like liquid crystal elastomers, they just don't mean anything to most people. The goal isn't to dumb things down, not at all. It's to build a bridge, a visual bridge, from this new, super technical idea to something your audience already gets, something they know from their everyday lives.
And this is where that strategy just comes to life. So for liquid crystal elastomers, this soft but crazy strong material, the perfect metaphor is chocolate chips in cookie dough. You instantly get it. The chips give structure to the soft dough. For hydrogel vision, a lens that focuses just using light, think of a sunflower turning to face the sun. It's organic, there's no power cord, it's just driven by light. And to show 3 different fields of tech coming together, I mean, what's more universal than baking a cake? Separately, they're just flour, eggs, sugar, but you put them together and you create something entirely new. So, check, we've hooked them. And check, we've explained the science. But for a story about the future, you can't just stop there. You have to build a world. You need to create a vibe, a tone that feels urgent and advanced, and just cool.
And the way you do this is by creating a very, very specific visual library. We're not talking about just grabbing random tech footage. You have to search for precise keywords that match the identity you're going for. For that high-energy, futuristic tone, you're looking for stuff like cyberpunk factory floor, or abstract neural network, or biometric eye scan. This carefully curated B-roll is what paints the picture for your audience. It makes the future feel real.
And that brings us to the final, and I'd argue the most crucial piece of the entire playbook. A great explainer always leaves the audience with one core idea, one single, stunning fact that they just can't help but remember and share.
But here's the secret. The thing that people actually share, it's almost never the most complex, scientific detail. It's the one that connects this far-out, futuristic concept directly to the viewer's own life, their own wallet, their own world. It has to be relatable.
So a script might have a fantastic scientific fact, like a fiber that can lift 2,000 times its own weight. From a physics point of view, that is absolutely mind-blowing, but for the rest of us, it's kind of abstract. What does that really mean? It's really hard to picture.
But then, maybe buried in that same script, you find this little nugget, a humanoid robot that costs less than a high-end smartphone. That's it. That's the one. By focusing on the price, you anchor this massive technological leap to a value comparison that every single person on the planet understands instantly. And it works so perfectly because it just nails 4 key things.
1. It anchors the unknown to a known value, the price of a phone. 2. It immediately makes you think, whoa, this disruption is happening right now. 3. It sparks that curiosity, that little bit of disbelief. And most importantly, number 4, it's so easy to tell someone else. Hey, did you hear there's a robot that costs less than an iPhone?
So let's recap the whole director's playbook. A winning visual explainer hooks you with visual intrigue. It simplifies the complicated stuff with everyday metaphors. It builds a world and a feeling with a specific tone. And it lands its entire message on the back of one unforgettable, shareable fact. And there you have it. That's the playbook. It's how you turn something really complex into something crystal clear. How you turn data into drama. You now have the tools to make the future make sense. So the only real question left is, what are you going to explain next?